Welcome to Faith Over Fear, Reflections for the Heart, a place where real life meets real faith. I'm Kimberly Dunham, and I'm so glad you're here. Each week, we'll explore honest reflections, faith-filled encouragement, and the everyday moments where God meets us right where we are. Because living a life of faith over fear isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Some of these episodes are pulled straight from my writings on Substack, where I share my heart, my struggles, and the way God continues to grow and stretch me. So whether you're listening on a quiet morning, a busy afternoon, or a weary evening, know this: you're not alone. You are seen, you are loved, and you are called to live in the power of faith over fear. So let's walk this journey together. Today's episode is number 6, and it's called Unapologetically Obedient. This is a sacred space where truth and tenderness meet, where faith collides with fire, where we stop pretending everything's okay and we start walking the hard, holy road towards healing. This episode is personal. It's not easy to record, but it's absolutely necessary because I've learned that obedience isn't always sweet. It is sometimes excruciating. It doesn't always come wrapped in peace or tied with a bow. Sometimes obedience feels like walking barefoot through a battlefield, trusting that God will protect you even when everything hurts. This episode is for everyone who has been told that they talk too much, that they feel too much, that they remember too much, and for everyone who has learned to stay silent in order to survive. But God didn't create you or me for survival mode. He created us to live, to be whole, to walk in truth. And that's what we're doing today. So let's talk about the weight of unspoken pain. I've carried this weight for years. Silent suffering, hidden hurt, a version of myself that knew how to perform but didn't know how to rest. I learned early that expressing pain made people uncomfortable, that being honest about my feelings invited tension, that being too much meant being rejected. So I silenced myself for the sake of peace. I convinced myself that if I just stayed small, quiet, and agreeable, things would stay stable. Relationships would stay intact, and love wouldn't be withdrawn. But the longer I kept quiet, the heavier the weight became. And God, being so gentle, yet so persistent, began whispering, "You don't have to carry that anymore. You don't have to carry that anymore." And so he called me to surrender, to release, to stop pretending that obedience means silence. And I've come to realize that healing doesn't happen when you're silent. Obedience will cost you something. When God first called me to share my story, I thought I would feel like freedom. I thought it would feel like freedom. And in many ways, it has. There's something sacred about letting go, about finally stepping into the light and saying, "This is who I am. This is what I've walked through. This is what God has brought me through." But I didn't expect what I didn't know. What no one really tells you is that your healing may hurt someone else's comfort, that your obedience might cause a ripple, that telling the truth might get misunderstood, misinterpreted, and misused. I never wanted to make anyone feel exposed or uncomfortable. But the truth is, my silence was slowly killing me. And God didn't ask me to stay quiet to protect anybody's pride. He asked me to trust Him, even if telling the truth causes a little shaking. I was misunderstood, but I was still obedient. So tonight, I'm hurting because someone I love read my words, but they didn't see my heart. They saw accusation where there was none. They saw exposure where there was vulnerability. They felt hurt, and I felt guilt. But here's what I know deep down. This wasn't about them. This was about me answering a call that came straight from God. And sometimes obedience and misunderstanding walk hand in hand. And so, yes, I'm frustrated. My feelings are bruised, but I'm still walking forward because my calling is not dependent on applause or approval. My healing is not dependent on validation, and my obedience is not negotiable. And if my truth makes someone uncomfortable, that doesn't mean that I stop speaking it because it's my truth. It means I keep speaking it with grace, but without apology. The deep grief of not being asked while sitting in the silence of my life. For so long, I was the strong one, the capable one, the dependable one, the default caregiver, the fixer, the peacekeeper. But in all of that, no one ever bothered to ask me, how are you really? What do you need? What's your story? So it became easier to keep it all in, to smile and say, I'm fine, even when I wasn't, to offer comfort while I was quietly unraveling inside. But then God stepped in and He asked me what no one else did. He said, will you let me see the whole you? Will you stop hiding? Will you trust me with this mess? And I said yes. So what does healing actually look like? Healing isn't just a sweet word on a journal cover. It's gritty, it's painful, it's loud sobs in quiet places. It's forgiving people who never apologized. It's speaking things aloud that no one wants to hear. It's releasing burdens that were never ours to carry. It's walking through fire and coming out smelling like grace. And let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it. Not because it's easy, but because it's sacred. It's sacred work between you and God. My mother, my mirror. Right now, I'm in caregiving mode for my mother. And through her, God is showing me something new. I'm not just seeing her as mom. I'm seeing her as a woman. A girl who had dreams, fears, and trauma of her own. A woman who loved, lost, endured, broke, and rebuilt. And that revelation is breaking something open in me. It's softening old resentments. It's exposing old wounds. It's healing places I didn't know were infected. I'm beginning to understand her. And in doing that, I'm finally allowing others to understand me. And I want the same opportunity to be seen, not just as a mother, not just as a caregiver, or an encourager, or a prayer warrior, but as me, the whole me, the woman, the daughter, the survivor, the storyteller, the child of God. And so I will not apologize. Nope, I will not apologize for sharing my truth. I won't shrink myself to fit a version of me that makes someone else feel safe. I won't delete parts of my story because they make someone uncomfortable. This is not bitterness. This is not revenge. This is not rebellion. This is obedience. And obedience leads to healing. And this leads to freedom. So, let's meet in the middle. I know my words may stir emotion. I know some may not understand why I've chosen to share. But I hope we can meet in the middle with grace. Because this story, it's not finished. We are all growing. We are all learning. We're all being refined. And just as I seek to understand others, I pray they'll seek to understand me through love, through honesty, through the lens of Christ. I'm not staying stuck in pain. I'm walking in joy. Joy that comes only through obedience. John 15:10 and 11 says, "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." And that's my prayer for you, that your joy may be full, even when the path is hard, that your truth may bring healing, even if it's uncomfortable, that your obedience may birth freedom, even when it costs you something. Thank you for walking with me today. If this episode stirred something in you, don't push it away. Sit with it for a moment. Pray through it. Write it out. And know that you are not alone. He's there, right there beside you. And I'm here too. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And share this with someone else who needs the courage to obey, even when it hurts. Leave a comment, send a message. I look forward to hearing from you. So thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope you leave encouraged, reminded that faith really does overcome fear. One small step, one surrendered heart at a time. Stay rooted in His Word, anchored in His love, and confident that God is working in every part of your story. Take care, my friend. Until we meet again, may you always choose faith over fear. And I'll see you next time.